this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no one.
a second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobuki Jake, and we're here to show you what we got.
All right.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
So, just before I start, my second shirt that was given to me for Christmas, Rick and Morty shirt, so y'all can see it. I need to see season 4. I'm waiting for it to come down in price so I can add it to my DVD collection. But with that being said, I'll go ahead and hand this off to you.
Woohoo! And we're going to start off with a dose of class and style, and then a dose of less than that. Because this week on Inside Movies Galore, we're going to be covering a couple of particular films that this one gave me a while back because he got lucky and got some really, really good deal on, at least one of them. So he did hook me up with a really nice collector's edition of Escape from New York, Kurt Russell starring John Carpenter flick. And then the far less classy Escape from LA, which is also more of a bare bones release too. You'll get to check out our discussion this week on Movies Galore. You'll get to hear more on my thoughts on these. But I did finally see them, finally. And I thought, we might as well present them finally. They've been sitting here collecting dust for a while. Finally got to present these as now officially in the collection.
Ooh, right. I love those films. And in a way, if it didn't come with a whole bunch of extra special features, which I haven't had time to watch, but I'm hoping to one day, I probably would have kept that DVD version because really and truly, they don't need the Blu-ray upgrade. But yeah, the Escape from LA, though, I mean, that's bare bones. So let's talk about completion. One of the problems with my Amityville collection is always been the movie Curse of Amityville. Because that movie was one of the films that never got a US release outside of a VHS. It's gotten European releases, but that's out of print. So I did find a Blu-ray release, again, region-free, a Spanish release, which is really cool. So it's probably my first my first Blu-ray from Spain, which is the Amityville Curse. La
Malédiction de Amityville.
So this one's actually the last of the major films in the series I needed. And of course, because the original language was English, and Inglese is on here. Sure, the the menus are in Spanish, but I know enough of the base language. I know a little bit of Italian, and I know a lot of French. And by using both of those pieces of knowledge, they're similar enough to where I can navigate a DVD menu. So
more the Italian.
So, I do feel like it's going to be fun. This was originally a Canadian film, which you'd think that there would be a Canadian release of this. And again, very out of print. This needs to come back into print. I'm hoping that as it seems to go, whenever I go ahead and break down and get one of these, it gets a US release. So that's my hope. I'm hoping to do that. It's sort of like with one of the films, for instance, that I'm going to be watching for our 2020 discussion, A Rainy Day in New York. And I know it didn't come out in 2020, but it was released here in the United States in 2020 because of all the issues. It's just, I got the foreign release because they kept saying it's never going to be released here. And not long after, the US breaks down and says, okay, we'll show. So maybe this is going to trigger it. I'm very happy. It is. It's really cool. I mean, I look forward to this one. I've been really looking forward to seeing. So I do have that on my priority to watch list once I get through all the other stuff I've prioritized.
Now, a film that had no trouble getting an American release is one that I got a few days ago. I ordered. I made a couple of half-hearted stabs at getting this one on various sales, and for various reasons it never happened. So it was sitting in my basket on Amazon, and when I bought an SD card for my GoPro, I saw that this was down to $10, and I was like, I'm going to go ahead and get it.
All right.
It is one of the big 2019 releases. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Ah, good one.
Release there. Not a bad release for $10. I would have liked a slightly fancier edition, but not bad at all. The film was overrated. It was not one of the year's best or one of Tarantino's best, but it's still a good film. It's worth watching and very much worth having.
I feel like mine came with a slipcover, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
I got one of the earlier releases, though. I know that much. So where are you? There. Okay, so Upgrade. Early sale. Shout Factory was doing their Halloween sale. Boy, that's going back a little ways. And I saw this for cheap. I said, I've only got the DVD of this. And so why don't I upgrade? And that was the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Cyborg.
Oh.
The way I talk about him, you'd think I was a big fan, but I only really like 3 of his films, and I'm highly curious about a 4th. I really love Bloodsport. I really like this. I am okay with Universal Soldier, and I'm curious about Kickboxer because I've only seen pieces of it, and I would like to see the full of it. But this one is probably my second favorite next to Bloodsport. I just love how it's presented. I like the future world. I love the villain. The villain is probably one of my favorite characters in this. It's just...
Wasn't that the one you showed me that I was bored by?
Yeah, he didn't like it, but that doesn't mean I didn't like it. But again, it's all about, as I said in the pickups that we talked about, it's all about personal opinion. And I know this isn't a very good film, but I like it. There you go. Just like I know that there's some films that I know are very good and well done, but I don't like it. So yeah, I may not know art, but I know what I like.
Right. Just like I'm sure there are people that love this and thought I was blasphemous for my description of it. And then they'll go, wait a minute, you thoroughly enjoyed a chick flick over Tarantino? What's wrong with you, man? But the other film from 2019 that I have sitting here going back to the mid-November, I think, was probably when I picked this up, was Little Women, which was an excellent film, one of my favorite films of the year, and much, much better film than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, in my opinion. And really good. This one also did have a slipcover, but not my copy, unfortunately. But I got a really good price on it, and I wanted to move on it because it was one of my top films of the year. And I want to say I think I'm still missing Apollo 11, and I think that's all of the top 10 on my list. So that's
Apollo 11
pretty
was
cool.
pretty. That's
Yeah.
Apollo 11 is one you need to get in 4K. That's weird for me to say it.
Maybe.
They
Yeah.
restored the quality of that thing so well.
This one looks pretty good. This one's worth getting in high def. Both of these would be worth getting 4K, but I'm happy with Blu-ray. Yeah.
You know, to this day, that's the only version of Little Woman I've actually seen.
I've seen the one from 1994, but I don't think I've seen any others.
I've got a couple other renditions, the Oscar-winning ones. I just have to get. I just have to take some time. Well, Right Stuff did a sale or two, and I went ahead and I picked up some stuff as cart toppers. These I went ahead and got all four of this, which was a completion of a series, and they were, I think, $1 to $2 a piece, so they weren't exactly, breaking my bank on this. So this is a Demon Lord Dante. So we've got this as the part 1. Dante resurrects. I don't know much about this series, so maybe y'all can tell me about how wonderful it is and all that stuff. This is the second one. It's been a while since I put anime up here. Dante rages. You can see Dante's like angry. And then Dante agonizes. He looks a little bit more human there. I really don't know anything about this series, so I'm just kind of going based on this was cheap. And then finally, Dante reigns. So, looks interesting. I wanted to give it a watch eventually.
Good times.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have much to say about it.
That's all I have to say about that. So, in our new releases video, we were talking about Martin Scorsese and his Criterion films. And this is one that has come up a few times in our group as, well, this one needs to get a Criterion release like yesterday. And as you were just saying with that Amityville one, now that I'm presenting it, I've actually been sitting on this for a couple months because I got it with Little Women.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was hell-bent on presenting them together. But now that I've gotten it, I'm willing to wager that April's release slate will have this from Criterion. Because that's the way it goes. And it is a film that will be worth getting in that format. But this is one of my top 40 films. I think it's one of my top, in terms of like per year. I think it was barely on a top 20. I think it was my number 20 for the year it came out. And that is the Scorsese film Silence, which is based on a book by, I believe it's Shusaku Endo, which I happen to have as well. And I really do hope we cover this one of these days on Movies Galore. I think that would be a really good discussion. But I do now finally have it. And I was impressed by this the first time I saw it. It was not one that I fell instantly in love with, but I was impressed. And it's a good film. It's worth a watch. And I look forward to revisiting it one day.
Well, this next one is one that actually triggered. It's a French film, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's one that triggered my entry into this year's Vinegar Syndrome Black Friday sale. I don't usually participate. Believe it or not, it was not the Beastmaster, though that was one that I went ahead and got because I wanted this one. And I felt like, why am I going to do this for one movie? So that would be Deadly Games, Dial Code Santa Claus. They have some amazing, these are like really thick slip covers that they use. So, again, I opened this up because I did put this one on my internet cloud so I'd have easy access to it for next year when I watch it. But you got the two covers here depicted on. So let me read you this rule. Young Thomas is obsessed with action movies and video games, so much so that when his mother is out, he delights in turning the sprawling mansion where he and his invalid grandmother live into a makeshift battleground, concocting and setting elaborate traps. Home Alone, grandmother aside. On Christmas Eve, Thomas is soon faced with the unexpected, very unwelcome guest. A department store Santa Claus, who is in fact a deranged maniac on the loose. Putting his skills into action, Thomas begins an all-out assault against the murderous Saint Nick, rather than risking Christmas turning into something closer to Halloween. I mean, yeah. When I saw that this was getting that re-release back when we did the new releases, it just went right on my wish list. I wanted this so bad. So when I was looking at their at Vinegar Syndrome's Black Friday sale, this was the number one reason.
All right. Sorry.
All right.
Kind of mouthful of gingerbread there. So, next up is going to be my sole Right Stuff entry for now. I couldn't even tell you how long I've been sitting on this one. I think it's one that came from one of those orders that I placed last spring that took forever and a day to get here. And incidentally, I'm still sitting on 3 orders, one of which was supposed to arrive here December 26th, supposedly, has not arrived yet. And I still have an order that's now 2 months old that hasn't even processed. So I know they're having staffing or some sort of issues, and I know the mail is running sluggish as hell, but this is getting ridiculous. It really is. But anyway, this one was a spring pickup. It's one that I'm pretty sure you have a more fancy edition than I do, but mine takes up less space, so I guess it works. It's an older series that I have never seen before that I got a really good price on it, but I really cannot remember at this point what that price was. And that's a series called Green Green. And it looks fun. It looks quite fun. Probably not a high quality one, but I think you've seen this, right?
Yeah.
Is it decent or?
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, a bunch of girls start entering into a all boys school for the first time, and it's decent.
Anime Works release, which those are kind of rare nowadays, but yeah.
Let's see here. So my next is going to be Death Toilet 3. So this one is the third in the horror comedy series, the trilogy so far of Death Toilet. I gave you these actually for Christmas, as a matter of fact.
I remember all too well.
The Evan Jacobs series. They're fun, they're entertaining, and of course they're shot on video horror comedies, and they're entertaining enough. I would say they're mid-tier. If you want to know more, you should check out my Anhedonia project. I do cover this one on it. I'll eventually be covering this as a full-on review, and I am going to be eventually getting to that. It's not my next up, but it is on my list. But I do have the reviews for all 3 of them, and I actually have the reviews of the physicals for 1 and 2. So I do plan on doing one for 3. But
Okay.
With that being said, it's fun.
Good times. And since we're talking about what we exchanged for Christmas, it seems only fitting that my next one should be one of the most acclaimed films of the last year, which is First Cow.
I just watched that the other day.
Oh, did you? Was it as good as they say?
It was all right.
I still need to see this, and I'll try to before our discussion on the best and worst of the year. But as I said, this is one of the most acclaimed films of the year, and it's got a fun title and a great, just that cover. It's a nice cover. I felt like this had to go on the because that just looks so fun looking at you on the shelf. And so I was like, I gotta do that. And I look forward to seeing it eventually.
Oh, very cool. One that you picked up, as a matter of fact, a few times ago. I picked up probably on the same sale, and that is Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons. I always liked Deathstroke. He was the basis for Deadpool. I don't know much about this particular film, but it's well worth me checking out, so I will eventually.
All right.
All right.
And my last is actually one last Christmas present. My middle brother had gotten some stuff that did not arrive in time because, as I just mentioned, mail has been lacking, to put it kindly, for some time now. And so he ordered something for me that arrived, I think, a week after Christmas. But it's something that I wasn't really necessarily angling for as a present. And I'm still a little trepidatious about watching this, but he assures me it's good. And I'm certainly glad to have it because I would have gotten it eventually anyway. And this is also a 2020 release, but it is a movie that should have been released 2 or 3 years sooner. And that is The New Mutants. So, do have it.
I need to get it, but not until it's lower price.
Well, free is a good price.
Yes, I would have gotten it for free.
But this definitely is one that I look forward to seeing. Again, a little bit of trepidation from the get-go. I was unsure about the direction they were going with this. And then they sat on it and sat on it and sat on it and gave it to the mouse, and they sat on it.
Yeah.
But eventually it came out. And again, my brother says it's good.
It looks interesting.
Yes, and I will admit, Anya Taylor-Joy is a great choice for Illyana. And Illyana is one of my all-time favorite Marvel characters. So if they did the character justice with that particular actress, that gives me hope. Yes. So.
And I mean, if anything, think of it as something on X-Men movie quality. I'm sure that it's no worse than half of those.
It will. Okay. The best way I can put that is, no matter if you're comparing it against X-Men movies as a whole, there's no possible way it could be worse than Wolverine. Not just regular X-Men Origins Wolverine. There's no possible way it could be worse.
Oh, you're trying to curse yourself now. So, speaking of couldn't possibly be worse in a series, there was a movie called Deep Blue Sea 3. Now, I've got the first two. The third one got an early release. Matter of fact, it came out in Walmart before it was supposed to. A lot of people in our kind of vein in the YouTubing circuit picked it up. I was like, I ain't picking it up for $25. No. This is Deep Blue Sea 3.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even pick up Deep Blue Sea 1 for $25. But now I have all 3 films on Blu-ray, and I got this for under 10,
Nice.
which may or may not be overpaying. But any movie about intelligent sharks that like to eat people, I'm on board. So with that Was that all of us? I think. Did you have any more?
Yep.
You have one more?
No,
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 okay.
that's it.
All right. So with that being said, sadly we got someplace else we gotta be. But I hope you've enjoyed this. Click that like button, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.